Welcome back, teachers. This is the presentation in which we discuss who we are, where we are headed, and how we plan on getting there. As you can see here on the first slide, our enrollment level has stayed pretty close to the same throughout the last 6 to 7 years. We had a slight drop, but we have been pretty substantial in the last couple of years. There are 719 students district-wide last year, as well as 277 of those students residing in our elementary building. That is just at 38.5% of our district is in this building. When you look at our ethnicity, you can see that we have a very high rate of ethnicity in our school district. So it is important for us to make sure that we service those students that may have an ELL need in an appropriate manner. When you're looking at this slide, the first thing that jumps out on me is that we had our IEPs decrease, and then again they began to increase. This number increase doesn't really alarm me, as we have a really nice center-based program that invites students from out of district, and these students have high needs and low functioning, so it's a very important program. So this number increasing is actually something that is not cause for concern with me. When we're looking at our ELL numbers right here, though, these numbers do concern me. This number should have dropped more, in my opinion, than 31% to 30.3%. That tells me that very few students actually graduated out of that ELL program, and I feel like they may not be getting the substantial support that they need. So that is going to be an area we focus on this year. When we're looking at our CMAS results for our elementary, you can see a steady drop here in every category from 15 to 16, and then an increase again in 17. That decrease is attributed to the fact that we got new reading curriculum and a new math curriculum in the same year. I would like to think that this is because the teachers were not comfortable with the curriculum yet and may not have had the fluency they needed and been able to do that as fluently as they needed. So this year we're getting a new math curriculum again, and I'd like to keep that as an area of concern, so we keep our eye out for that. How do we compare to the state? You can see our English language arts area, we are in the blue, so we're doing fairly well. We could always improve. But when you look over here with our math, you can see that our math is in all below 50 percentile, and that actually we're below 40 percentile on most of this, 50 in 16, and we actually dropped again in 17. I would really like to see these numbers go back up. I think that part of it is attributed to the lack of understanding and the gap in knowledge we had when we changed to the new curriculum. The further dissension in percentages here and scores tells me that we didn't have teacher buy-in. Teachers didn't understand what they were teaching, therefore couldn't teach it with fidelity. So we're going to definitely keep the math curriculum that is coming in this next semester as an area of concern, and we're going to keep a close eye on that. Our focus as learners this year, teachers. We're going to learn how to read data, and not just read it, but we're going to turn it into usable information. We're going to evolve that focus in our classroom from data-driven to knowledge-driven lesson plans, because if that information is not usable, you will not have the knowledge you need to drive that lesson plan, and therefore it's going to be absolutely worthless data. You're going to learn how to decode your state standards, and then we're going to learn how to collaborate better with our grade teams, our grade level teams. We're going to have sessions each month during our PD days that focus on data collaboration, in which we all participate. We're going to celebrate our successes in these areas, as well as prepare for our areas of needed growth. We're going to set personal goals, grade level goals, as well as school-wide goals on data collection and collaboration. Our focus this year as teachers, we are going to continue to fully support our IEP students and our center-based programs, as it is an incredibly important part of our school. We are going to continue to work on closing those gaps for our ELL students and hopefully get those numbers up so we can graduate some of those kiddos out of that program. We're going to focus on our math instruction as we have a new curriculum. We need to make sure we can ensure that they are understanding the difference in the data that they were getting this year versus what they got last year. That understanding is very important. We also need to make sure we're recording this data so we can help support in areas they may need. We need to continue to focus on aligning our lessons with these standards so we can hopefully begin to see our scores rise. And we need to collect data to identify students at their points of need. We also need to make sure we are working examples of perseverance, kindness, and an open mindset. Teachers, I can't stress enough how important it is that we are the place where people want to come. We are the place where these kids feel safe. Many of our students are low-income families, and this is their safe place to be. We need to remember that we need to be the teacher that we needed when we were younger.